Today is Daily Cyber number 16. Today I didn't get a chance at all to study anything cybersecurity related, and I really want to talk about protecting your assets and developing into the future, right? And looking at your future self and where you want to be. And the reason why is, as I've commented here, I'm helping a family member with, fighting cancer and dealing with a lot of family challenges in that way, because all of us have been touched with someone that has had cancer in our lives, and it really kind of shows, what cancer does, how it affects the family, how it affects everyone. And the reason why I bring that up and what I want to talk about today, especially when it comes to security, all these videos I'm relating to security, is that you got to protect yourself and you got to protect your assets and your future finances and everything along that line. Is because what happens is some people work all their lives, right? They work for a company, they get good benefits, they get a pension, anything along that line. But when you get sick, it becomes very expensive, right? So really developing a financial abundance, kind of putting yourself up on a certain level and looking for the future. This really kind of opened my eyes on, looking at security and the vulnerabilities and compromises when you look at technical, but you can also get compromised in all different other areas. We talk about social engineering when people get called and, people ask questions. Well, you can also get compromised in the sense that you're just not planning, right? Proper planning for your security in the sense of your networks, your business, and then even your personal life. When you sit there and you can see how fast things can get depleted, right? Your resources and your technical resources, your information. We talk about in security the denial of service attack, or which is DOS, or DDoS, which is a distributed denial of service attack. Well, when we talk about on the personal side, you look at how you can get depleted financially when you have to pay for resources to come in, and it depletes you and it makes you vulnerable, right? To now what you have nothing there. So it's interesting. I'm relating this to security and relating this to my life and what I'm doing is because I really relied on a lot of things that happened and they didn't, and it made me vulnerable, right? To now, like, I'm studying cybersecurity, trying to get out in the industry, and now I'm just kind of and trying to study and develop my skill set over the next year, 365 days, and then plus, but blogging this, trying to get into the industry and make money. But on the other side, knowing that I'm here for my family member and seeing what they're going through. And yesterday I sat down with the finances and just kind of realized they invest, they did all the right things they could have. But, depending on how long this cancer affects them, it could deplete all their resources, right? So the point then, now what do you do? Like, if they have cancer and live for 2 to 3 years, but that don't have a quality of life and need support and need people in there, it can deplete. Give me an example, like services that I looked up, like Home Instead and things like that, where they have in-home care, can go up to around $400 or $500 a day. Well, you multiply that out times, 5 days a week, or even 7 days a week times, 4 weeks in a month, and you divide that out, you'll see how much it costs. And then having their services where you can have like a Filipino nurse come in, that's you work through an agency. Well, that can cost me from $25,000 to $30,000 a year. Well, that's a full-time wage, right, for a lot of people, right? So you look at that, and if you make $60,000 a year and you only bring home, say, $45,000 after taxes, and you have to pay $30,000 in care, you realize you only have like $10,000, $15,000 left over, right, after, for your expenses, everything that you do. So how do you do that, right? How do you live off that? So, I'm talking mostly in Ontario, I guess where I'm from. There's some services, but it's limited on what they can do because it's not full-time care. It's, CCAC comes in and it supports up to a certain point, and then there's hospice, which will come in, several hours a day, closer to the end of life. But while they're dealing with pain, suffering, all that through the longer periods of time. I think it's a year and above. So if they're not diagnosed, and I'm finding this out as I go, but if you're not diagnosed that you're gonna pass away less than 1 year, if the doctor says, okay, well, you got a year to live, then the hospice gets involved. But if you have a year and 1 day and more, they're not going to get involved until it's a short lifespan. So you're kind of like, oh my God, like, what about these people that need help, like they're in pain and are suffering and need, care? Well, you got to kind of figure it out on your own. So going back into the security, you realize how vulnerable you can be when something attacks you. Technical hackers, a disease, anything along that line attacks you. And then if you're not prepared for it, which, don't get me wrong, no one's like thinking about, okay, you know what, I'm going to get cancer in this, how I'm going to protect myself. You don't think that way. Well, at least I didn't, and I'm still not thinking that way, in the sense of, I have to work to protect myself against cancer, right? I'm working to think about, to stay healthy, right? And to kind of be abundant. But you have to have this security mindset to protect all areas. I mean, you got to get health insurance and things like that. And if you work for a company, make sure all that's in place, and how, and look through your health benefits and so forth. I mean, this is why at one point I started to work for a company, kind of looking at the big picture. But that opened my mind up to, after the fact, after being laid off, that it's not secure, it's not safe, at that time, so I have to look at how to develop my skills, right, to be an asset for a company, that layoffs are not in their consideration because I'm an asset to the company and need it. I found for the other company I wasn't really an asset, right, and it was easier for them to lay me off just because, they needed to, right? So, which, I have to think about myself, not them, how it affected me, right? It affected me because now I'm out looking for work, right? I'm building up my business, trying to get some revenue coming in that way, while trying to develop my skill set to be, marketable and all that. So doing that, and on top of that, looking after a family. Right now, the company that laid me off, I mean, didn't take that into consideration. They didn't. It's not, and don't get me wrong, it's very rare you're going to find a company that kind of cares about their people that much, that they're going to dive in deep and say, okay, you know what, we're thinking about laying you off, but what's going on? How can we help you? How can we do that? It's very rare you're going to find a company like that, and I understand that. It's not a fault on companies. It's just something that I'm looking for as an asset, that a company really kind of connects with their employees, right, and cares, right, and cares, their well-being and their wealth. Things happen. I mean, we look at anyone I've talked to that has a story or a journey that they've gone through, of some family member that's gone through some sort of health challenge. And we all understand now, just being human is to take care of each other. Now, I did my work. I was, fully present, did all that, even though everything else was going on. So I'm not saying I would slack and do all my job. And I've got great reviews if you look at my LinkedIn profile from the companies I've worked for, right? So it's just me, my personal belief and my feeling is, I like to connect with a company and work for a company that really cares, right? And shows that and has that rapport and that relationship. And don't get me wrong, I've been a manager on their side. There's some things you can't say, but connect with your employee, connect with the people and say, you know what, this is what we're thinking, and if you put someone in a hard situation, at least be transparent, right? And saying, look, you know what, we have to lay off because maybe you're not doing your job or whatever that may be, and we've tried. That happens, right? But I know for my personal, I was, I'm diehard. I'm a little OCD when I start working. Right? Even when I work for my own company, I'm OCD. Like I get in there, I do it, I get obsessed, and I really want to do an amazing job. But that's kind of a little bit of my rant for that, about working for people. But again, I want to finish. I'm not faulting any company. My passion, my dream is to work with people and with work companies that really kind of connect on a human aspect as well. Yeah, we got to get the job done. We got to do our projects. We got to do our tasks. Run our responsibilities. Completely agree. I mean, you can see I'm doing these videos, trying to study as best as I can, while full time now at this point, taking care of a family member while I'm studying, while I'm doing my projects, while I'm helping with clients, while I'm doing all that, and yesterday I just didn't get a chance to study because I was taking on a lot of meetings because I'm trying to get this family member up and going and looking after their will, their financial situation, because I'm a planner, right? I'm a doer, right? I want to make sure that they got everything done so they don't have to worry about that. They can kind of be concerned about healing and taking care of their health, right? So, and this is, for me, coming on a security side, that is protection. Protect your assets, protect your liabilities, get everything, understand what the snapshot, the baseline is, and then where do we go from there? I'm a strategist. I plan, right? And just kind of see what direction, what are our options, what are our projects, right? Okay, so we go left, we go right. What is the options that we have? And that's what I do, right? And that's kind of how my mind works. Of course, being compassionate. I mean, I understand, that they're going through a hard time, and that's why with my family member, they've asked me, like, tell me what's going on, let me know, but you kind of take care of that because that's how you work, right? We understand, and I write notes, I make charts, Excel spreadsheets, you name it, like get everything organized. And then after I had the few meetings, I got more this week and next week with the lawyers and stuff like that. But once I do that, I met with them and gave them an overview of everything, so they were appreciative. Okay, yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know why I had that. Okay, what do I need to do? Well, here's the areas that the professional recommended. What do you want? What would you like to do? So I'm kind of a project lead, right? Thinking that way. And that's, again, looking at protecting the assets, protecting the individual. And I'm really passionate about cybersecurity and IT security because of that. To me, at the end of the day, it's learning the technology, really kind of understanding it. But at the end of the day, it's protecting something. Right? You're protecting a server, you're protecting a company, you're protecting a person, right? And the person could be the owner of the company, right? Or, the IT department, whoever that may be, but protecting them, because no one wants to get compromised, no one wants to get hacked. It feels terrible on an emotional side. It's frustrating, it's long hours, you have to figure it out. It really, at the end of the day, it sucks, right? It's not something you look up like, oh, yay, I got hacked, this was great. No, you're like, oh, man, I got hacked. What happened? What did I do wrong? What was the mistake I made? What didn't I harden or configure? Okay, how do I report this to the manager or, my director, or whoever your reporting person is, that we got compromised and it feels like you failed, right? And a lot of times we got to remember, software is hackable, being connected is vulnerable. So whatever software you put, there could be a vulnerability that you just don't know about, right? And it's not your fault. I mean, you could have done all the research, you could have called the company, and maybe you did a patch or an update and something that left an exploit, right? Or a zero-day attack, which no one knows until you're attacked. Then they can go, oh my God, they got in this way. So there's all these different things, and we do our best. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to do my best, and it's just really interesting logging this journey and seeing all the things and going back to the videos and trying to make it happen, right? It's really interesting because I know for myself, and I'm laying it all on the line. Like, I know I have to make roughly, to help my family member financially, anywhere from net $10,000 to say $15,000 a month to be able to help them, like I said, with the support. If they have to pay $400 a month, and this is where you kind of look at it. If they have to pay $400 a month and they can't afford it, or $400 a day, sorry, to have someone come in and they can't afford it, well, how can I help them? And me helping them is being able to make that revenue to have someone come in. Now, it's kind of interesting. You have that catch-22. Well, why don't I just go in and do the support? Well, I still need to pay my bills and do everything and, pay for my food, my expenses, and everything that I'm doing. So how do I do that and do the same thing? And someone, mentioned to me, like, why don't you do like a Kickstarter campaign or, crowdfunding? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm into that, and I mean, ask your opinion. What do you think? But I know for me, it's like, I want to work, I want to get out there, but I know like family comes first, and I want to support them. So I'm in this balancing act right now, and it's not easy. It's not easy at all, you know. But I understand the challenge my family members going through right now, and the kind of the point where they feel alone, you know, because what do they do? I mean, they're looking at potential. They're gonna pass away. They're gonna die, right? And what do? You know, you lose all kind of safety and security when you can't look after yourself. You know, you have people coming in. You know, you're looking at your potential demise. You know, that's in the near future, and hearing it from different sides, the medical community, nurses, things like that, are all mentioning this. Now it's becoming real and tangible. So what do you do? So my challenge is trying to balance my life, help them, be there, make the revenue and money that I can, right, to be able to support. So it's not easy. I mean, trying to figure it out, trying to balance it out, trying to develop myself to get into the career that I want to get into it's not easy. It's not easy at all. But I know from all the metaphysics and stuff I read, right, and you listen to motivational speakers, you're only given what you can handle. I do appreciate, I feel I can handle it, right, and I can do it. It's just, you know, how long I can do it for and sustain myself and be healthy. I mean, I gotta make sure I take care of myself too while I'm doing this. So that's kind of what I want to talk about today. Just, you know, making sure when you're looking at a snapshot of yourself, your baseline. How are you today? How are you in the next 6 months, 1 year, 5 year? And what happens? Do you have the systems in place to protect yourself if something was happen, right? If you got sick, right? Do you have, you know, health insurance? Do you have, you know, a nest egg, anything along that line? So really kind of look after, you know, yourself and protect yourself, you know, so if you ever get attacked, you're able to protect yourself, right? And if that doesn't happen, and knock on wood it doesn't, you know, then it's great. You don't have to worry about it. But if it ever does, you have that kind of safety behind you that you don't have to, you know, be concerned on your financial situation, things like that. So that's really my video for today. Just wanted to talk about that, and that's what's going through my mind. And you know, I gotta get going, call it a night, and plan for tomorrow. Get some study and get some things done. So I'm off. Just remember, software is hackable. Being connected is vulnerable.